The Atlanticist Fracture. Europe's far-right realigns away from Trumpism over security and sovereignty fears. The initial, enthusiastic embrace of Donald Trump by Europe's nationalist parties following his re-election has given way to a stark and rapid strategic divergence.
The catalyst for this rupture is a dual-pronged threat perception, the prospect of being drawn into a broader Middle Eastern conflict over Iran, and the destabilizing demand for increased NATO spending framed as transactional protection. This represents not merely a policy disagreement, but a fundamental reassessment of interests, where the perceived insanity and needlessness of potential U.S.-led
wars now outweigh the ideological affinity for Trump's populist brand. The breaking point underscores a pivotal moment where European sovereignty and pragmatic security calculus override transnational political solidarity.
The illiberal alliance unravels, shared populist rhetoric collapses under the weight of hard geopolitical realities. The pre-2024 landscape saw a burgeoning, if informal, coalition between Trump's America First doctrine and Europe's ascendant far-right, united by skepticism of multilateralism and liberal international order institutions like the WHO and traditional NATO consensus.
This framework, however, was built on a foundation of rhetorical anti-elitism rather than a coherent shared strategic vision. The status quo was inherently unstable, as it failed to account for the divergent core interests. European nationalists ultimately seek regional influence and stability, not global disruption that directly threatens their continent.
The underlying driver is a recognition that entanglement in Trump's foreign policy ventures poses an existential risk to their domestic political projects and national security.
Sovereignty vs. subservience. The breaking points Iran and NATO reveal a fundamental conflict of interest.
The specific demands emanating from the re-elected Trump administration created an irreconcilable dilemma for European allies. On one front, the aggressive posture toward Iran raised the spectre of a regional war that would inevitably spill into European security and energy markets, forcing costly involvement.
Concurrently, the characterization of NATO commitments as a protection racket demanding immediate financial tribute transformed the alliance from a pillar of collective defense into a symbol of vassalage. This dual pressure tested the principle of strategic autonomy cherished by both the traditional EU core and the nationalist right, revealing that alignment with Trump required a degree of subservience that undermined the very sovereignty these parties champion.
The calculated decision to jump ship is thus a pragmatic move to insulate national interests from perceived American volatility.
A new European calculus emerges. Expect a fragmented, more mercenary approach to transatlantic relations. The strategic verdict is that the transatlantic populist bridge has collapsed, forcing a recalibration.
European far-right movements will likely pursue a more insular and bilateral foreign policy, seeking to leverage their position between a disruptive EU and a consolidating EU core.
The predicted consequence is a more fragmented and transactional European security landscape where commitments are conditional and alliances are temporary. Future risks include increased vulnerability to Russian influence campaigns targeting these now moored political forces and a potential weakening of the NATO deterrent in the East.
The opportunity, however, lies in compelling a broader European debate on defence self-sufficiency. The next strategic step for these parties will be to forge a new, Europe-centric nationalist consensus that prioritizes continental stability over ideological loyalty to a destabilizing American partner.